Hello, crafty friends. I hope you're doing well. I'm finally sharing my very first card for 2022, and this time I made this fun wintry friendship card. I stamped all of my images onto Transotype Perfect coloring paper, and I'm using my Copic markers to color the images from Penguin Party, Snow Cool, and Yeti or Not from Lawn Fawn. For my penguin, I'm using C7, C5, C3, and C1 and a little bit of C1 and the colorless blender on the bellies. For the beaks and the feet, I wanted a muted orange, not like a bright orange, so I'm using YR82 and a little bit of RO2. This card is actually my entry for the Cloud9 Crafts Challenge for January, or one of my entries. I will be back tomorrow with another one. I'm running a little late because it's the January challenge, but I was super busy with work the past few weeks, so I haven't been able to get them done sooner, but I'm really happy I finally did. For the wood panels, I'm using E70 markers, so E77, E74, E71, and E70. And I went ahead and just stamped the sentiment, "I'm so glad we're friends," and free hugs into the signs before I started coloring. And again, I used the E77 just to get the wood sign a little bit darker. For my accessories, I decided on going with muted pinks and purples. So I'm using V17, V15, V12, and V000. Going in with 2 layers as usual. And for my pinks, I'm using R80 markers, R85, R83, R81, and a tiny little bit of RV000. I color the rest of the accessories with the same color combinations off camera, just to save a little bit of time in the video. I die cut 2 stitched hills with the Lawn Fawn stitched border dies. And I'm ink blending a tiny little bit of Salvaged Patina on the edges. And then I'm using the Sukaneko Sheer Shimmer Spritz in Sparkle, just to add some shine to make it look like sparkly snow. Then I'm ink blending a panel of Bristol Smooth cardstock with milled lavender, spun sugar, just to have like a little nice pink to purple fade. I wanted to use worn lipstick, but the shade wasn't quite right, so I end up mixing a lot back and forth. But first I'm going in just to get like a nice base layer of the spun sugar. Going over the transition area, then going in with worn lipstick, and then I realized there wasn't really the color that I wanted. Then I'm bringing in Victorian Velvet, and that was also not the color that I wanted. I tried to go with like a muted pink purple, but this was too brown for what I wanted, so I actually ended up going over it with spun sugar again, and then bringing in a little bit of the worn lipstick after all, and those together actually created the kind of shade that I wanted, so it ended up being fine. But I did want more of a true purple, so I added quite a bit of the shaded lilac color over top of the milled lavender just to get a nice transition. And I ended up liking that color combination quite a bit. I'm adding some splatters of worn lipstick and shaded lilac. Just add some droplets of water and for a little bit of interest on the background, adding lots of little splatters. And then I'm also adding some shimmery splatters with the Lawn Fawn liquid stardust. Just adding a little bit on a brush and then setting that background off to dry. I actually let this dry overnight because the liquid stardust always takes a while to dry, And then I ran it through my die cutting machine with the stitched snowflake backdrop, and I really like the detail those snowflakes add. Then I'm just adding the background to a card base with way too much liquid glue for no actual reason whatsoever. But, here we are. And then adding my hills. I just added these flat to the card. For my sentiment, I wanted to stamp the have a cool winter or have a very cool winter. And I'm heat embossing that in white onto a strip of black cardstock. Sorry, I'm a little out of frame here. The embossing powder I'm using is by Wow. It's the opaque bright white in super fine, which I really love for any kind of text embossing. Just taking a tiny little brush to get off any like stray embossing powder bits, and then I heated up my heat tool for a little bit and then ran it over the sentiment strip until the embossing powder was smooth and melted, and then it was already time to assemble my scene. First, I added the sentiment strip so that I would have a guide where the remaining images would go, how high I could bring them up. Then I added the cute little igloo, the hearts that come out of the chimney, which I think is just super cute. And then I wanted to add this little guy with the sign behind the igloo. I added the free hug sign to the left with some liquid glue. And then I just placed the one with the popsicle and a little bow tie up top. And the trio, the two penguins building the penguin snowman in front of the card with some foam squares. I fiddled around with the placement quite a lot, moving them to the left, to the right, until I was happy with the placement. Also added the little hat to one of the penguins. I think it's actually a Santa hat, but if you color it a different color, I think it could just be, a winter hat. This one's also eating a popsicle. Then I wanted to add some more shimmer to the card with the Nuvo Aqua Shimmer Pen in Glitter Gloss. And I just went over, well, most of the images really. Anything that's like icy, I wanted to add sparkle to. And then I'm going in with the Stickles and Stardust. And I'm adding that to the hearts and to the edges of the ice blocks on the igloo, so that it gives some nice dimension there. Also adding a little bit to the popsicles and to the free hug sign. And of course the hat of the little penguin. I actually made sure to avoid any places that I put the gel pen because I didn't want to dissolve the ink. And that finishes off my card for today. I really like how it turned out. I had so much fun making this, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow with the new card for the Cloud9 Crafts Challenge. I will leave a link to the shop down below. It's my favorite crafty shop if you're in Europe. She is wonderful. Every package is like a party to unwrap, so please go check her out if you're looking for a European craft supplier. She's awesome. And I'll see you again next time. Until then, have an amazing day.